All right. Something occurred to me, so I'm gonna use my editing skills once again and point something out to recent past Gary that he didn't quite consider when doing the reading on these tariffs that on Liberation Day on April the 2nd. This video is coming out on April the 1st, April Fool's Day. So I'm gonna just do a quick read. One Carter. Is Spirit messing with me and giving me an April Fool's reading? Okay. Here's the card. Depends on how you look at it. Oh, thanks a lot. Good grief. Okay. We'll see if Spirit's just messing with me. Talk to you soon. Bye. Welcome back to Twin Tarot. I'm Gary, and this continues to be Not David. So, it's Monday, March 31st, and Dave's going to be tied up with work for the next couple of days. So I was going to do a couple readings, one for April Fool's Day and one for April 2nd. What I want to read is on Trump's his reciprocal tariffs that are going to go into effect on April the 2nd. And what Trump is doing is he's looking at the tariffs other nations have on U.S. goods, and he's going to exact a reciprocal tariff on their goods that we're importing. The whole idea is Trump feels that if we have a trade deficit with a nation, it's unfair to the United States. Well, it depends on how you define fair. U.S. companies have been exporting out manufacturing jobs for years. And the reason why they do it is because any job that's super labor intensive, that's manufacturing, it's cheaper to do it in a low labor rate nation than it is to do it in the United States. So that's why a lot of the manufacturing jobs went to China, for example, because the labor rate is probably, a fourth of what the United States labor rate is. It's probably, the gap is probably closed over the years, but it was so much cheaper that it was cheaper to have the stuff made in China, put on a container ship, and shipped over to the United States and imported. And companies did this because it improved profits. Now, if all you're concerned about is your bonus, and your bonus is tied to profits and the share price of your stock, it makes a lot of sense. If your priority is keeping a healthy middle class that can purchase your products, well, that's probably not the tactic you'd want to do. But, so a lot of the middle class jobs got exported. And people are upset because the middle class is shrinking. And the income disparity of the United States has never been greater than it is now between the have and the have-nots. And it's about to get worse because when you slap a tariff on something, you're raising the price of that good. It's not the foreign nation that pays the tariff. It's the import-export company that pays the tariff. And then they go ahead and they mark up whatever the product is that they're selling. And then you and I as a consumer pay more for it. And ultimately, it's our money that pays for the tariffs. So when Trump is going to slap tariffs on, reciprocal tariffs on these nations, what he's doing is he's going to be raising the price of all of these goods that are coming into the United States. In his mind, I'm not necessarily agreeing with this. In theory, it works, but in his mind, this will motivate these countries to invest in manufacturing in the United States. Therefore you can produce the product without a tariff, and the jobs come back to the United States. In practice, that might not work because there's a whole bunch of environmental and health regulations. So if you're building a manufacturing facility out here, there's a whole bunch of environmental health and building codes and other stuff that it's going to make the cost of a manufacturing plant very, very expensive, especially. And then you've got all the EPA rules. Of course, with Trump, those EPA rules probably won't exist anymore. But you've got all these setup costs, and then you have to attract a labor base to come in and someone who's like, I've always wanted to make toothbrushes. This is my opportunity now. Dream realized. Woo! And the thing is if these tariffs sunset, Trump's no longer president, and these tariffs go away, you've just invested in this factory in the United States that is not cost competitive with the factories that you have back home. Because once the tariffs go away, then you can go ahead and import all those toothbrushes at half to a third of the cost of what's going to cost you to make them in the United States. Then so this strategy could work if the tariffs are permanent, and that's what Trump is saying, is he wants these tariffs to be permanent. And someone had asked him, did you truly tell the American auto manufacturers not to raise their prices once these tariffs take effect? And he said, I never said that. Matter of fact, I hope they do raise prices, because that means people will be buying American cars. It's just like, I don't think he understood the question. The question isn't whether BMW USA is going to raise the price of their BMWs because of the tariffs. It's Ford Motor Company, on their F-150s, are they going to jack up the price of an F-150 $15,000 a unit because Toyota and Nissan need to raise the price of their trucks? It's probably not the great example because U.S. Manufacturing does produce most of the trucks, but in SUV, for example, right? Same deal. The bottom line is, it's going to raise the price of everything. It's going to go up because of tariffs. This is going to disproportionately impact people of modest income. This will also, if you are very wealthy, yeah, you'll pay more, but it's not going to impact you the way it's going to impact someone whose family income is $50,000 a year. If you're making $500,000 a year, it's just, it's very unfair. It's putting a lot of the burden on low income people, and I truly don't think the Republicans in MAGA have played this all the way to the end. This is really going to impact MAGA. So we're just going to go look at this and say, what's the future for the American consumer? How are these tariffs going to impact their lives for entertainment purposes only? Let's look let's do a side-by-side reading, a short term and a long term. So in the short term, how is this going to affect the American consumer? In the long term, how is this going to affect the American consumer? So I've never done it this way before. Let's see how this works. In the short term, Ace of Swords, the sword of truth is coming out. The main clarifier is what's true is that this is crazy, and don't believe what the salesman is telling you, because what he's telling you is not the truth. This is the justice of this is very apparent, or the injustice of this is very apparent. And short-term impact, you got the King of Wands taking a strong action. I think what this case is, Trump. This is Trump's truth. It's also showing how crazy he is. But in his mind, this is a just thing, And this is, this he's taking actions to defend the United States. So this isn't how the U.S. consumer thinks it. This is how Trump is thinking it. The long-term impact. We've got the foundation is the devil, the Hierophant. So this is all about Trump. This is Trump's agenda. I'm going to pull these down so you can see the cards a little better. This is supporting Trump's agenda. I'm the government here. You do what I tell you to do. We had actions to take, and we're going to take them against the people in the world. And they're finding that there's no way out of this. The energy underneath this is the Empress. So in the short term, this is in your best interest. This is what's going to make America great again. In the long term, it's the High Priestess, where, this is kind of ask the right question, get the right answer. I think what they're going to find is in the long term, this isn't working out the way they expected it to. That this is kind of like, if you call it a vicious circle, that the risk is that you start a trade war. You start tariff wars on there. So once again, I ask a question, I get a different answer. For Trump, he thinks this is what we need to do. And as the leader of the government, you just have to trust his truth, even though it appears all shades of crazy. Okay, so how is this going to impact the U.S. economy in the short term and in the long term? Long term here, I'm long term 6 to 12 months. I'm not even. Is this even going to be around for a year? So how is this going to impact the economy, short term, long term? Let's take a look. Do the same thing. So short term, long term. Okay, how's this going to impact the economy in the short term? Oh, we're going to be fighting some battles. The Justice card. So, in the short term, we're going to be fighting battles. How is this going to impact the economy? I'm not sure what the Justice card means just yet. We got new agreements and balance. I think what's going to happen here is, in the short term, some of these other nations aren't going to want to fight with us, and they're going to try and come up with some sort of a just reciprocal agreement to reduce existing tariffs. It'll improve some relationships, but there's a balance there because you're going to create problems overseas with this. Trying to keep the red hats happy is going to create some problems overseas. What's the long-term impact of this on the economy? You got the Ace of Swords. That Sword of Truth is out there again. Main clarifier, the Nine of Pentacles. And it's so funny because this should be a good card. This is like everyone benefits. We all, as a nation, all the things of wealth and all the things of value come back to us. But I get the feeling that this is only going to benefit people who are very, very wealthy. It's going to give them an opportunity here. But I could be just wrong. Maybe I'm just biased. The Star, the best for the economy. Three of Pentacles, more people working together. And the underneath cards. So we got the Queen of Pentacles, basically trying to take care of things, trying to nurture your money. Don't spend so much. The Empress, it's all about abundance and good things. All right, so what I'm getting from the cards is for the impact, the short-term and long-term impacts. The long-term impacts might be okay. Who knew? It's going to be painful in the short term, but maybe it plays out in the long term. I would not have expected that. I don't know if I believe that, but I'll be the first to say I was wrong if it turns out that this is a great thing. I just don't think tariffs are the right answer to. That's not the solution to the problem. I want to ask one more question because since this is a long-term question, it didn't say that the tariffs were actually be in effect long-term. It could be those tariffs are in effect a very short-term, but we get the long-term benefits because we have new agreements coming out. That could be what that Three Pentacles is. Okay, so will these tariffs be in effect a long time? Will they, a long time? Will they be in effect, 6 to 12 months? Okay, there's your Two of Pentacles, trying to find that balance. There's your relationships with the Lovers card. More relationships. So you've got big picture relationships and individual relationships, and trying to strike that balance. The Moon card. That's So the Moon card is like the path forward it's kind of everything's a little bit confused and muddied. We don't know exactly what that path forward is, what it's going to look like. But we are going to make slow, steady progress on this. I have a hunch what's going to happen is these tariffs aren't going to be around very long. But what it's going to do is it's going to maybe reduce some of these tariffs that American goods exports are experiencing. And that will slowly improve our ability to export goods. We'll see. I mean, I could be completely misinterpreting these cards. This is unexpectedly positive. So I got to admit, I'm surprised by this. I'll probably get a load of hate in the comments section, but entertainment purposes only. I guess we'll know in a year if I'm a complete idiot or not. I'm sure Dave already has an answer for that. But anyways, I'd like to thank you all for watching. We truly appreciate that. If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. We put out a new video every day at midnight. Leave a comment. I read them all, respond to many. And unlike those bargain basement, non-tariff paying Twin Tarot channels, we give shout outs and call outs. So the first person I want to give a shout out to is Nellie Nifton from the United Kingdom, who never got to see Romper Room, but wanted to shout out anyway. So sure, Nellie Nifton, you get the Wheel of Fortune. Your future is wide open. And then I want to give one more out to Cornelia Gager, or Gager. I'm going to say Gager, Gauger. She was never called out on Romper Room, and she says she still hasn't found a keychain with her name on it. So Cornelia, I understand. Here's your shout out, and you have the Two of Cups. Go out there and have a good time. Go find someone to have a drink with because you got your shout out. So thank you so much for watching, and let's give a secret card to the rest of us. So, unusually uplifting reading. The secret card today is the Knight of Swords. So don't go out there quite yet and do some reckless spending. Let's see if I'm right first, but hopefully this is going to be okay. Gary, the analyst, my gut intuition is I doubt it. I would be stunned if this works out, but let's see. Let's see what the cards, if the cards bear that out. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.